we're at. As for the safety of Los Angeles, last night we saw the full impact of the curfew with our ability to police areas of downtown and particularly and also the west side, but also the valley, where we saw roving groups of individuals that were not compliant with the curfew, and we believe were out to loot and prey upon businesses in our community. And our officers' actions were able to to identify those individuals and make a number of arrests. Last night, just under 700 arrests. And within those 700 arrests were 70 individuals who were either burglarizing or looting, victimizing businesses further. So what that tells me is that two things. We didn't have protests last night. We had criminal acts. We didn't have people mourning the death of this man, George Floyd. We had people capitalizing. His death is on their hands as much as it is those officers. And that is a strong statement. But I must say that this civil unrest that we're in the midst of, we must turn a corner from people who are involved in violence, people who are involved in preying upon others. The actions last night, I am encouraged for Los Angeles, but I was discouraged for Santa Monica and Long Beach. This morning was a bright morning. It started well. A protest in the Van Nuys area with a group of students that was largely peaceful. Then through the course of that protest, others came involved and looted, attempted and broke in 3 stores. Officers were on scene, made arrests. But again, a protest that we are efforting to support and ensure that people's voices are heard. Social justice that needs to occur, that we can't hear because of the violence. As we move through the evening and presently in the late afternoon, we have a series of unpermitted, some planned marches and groups in various parts of the city. I'm aware of the one on the west side, where at the federal building, it moves onto the freeway. When you move onto the freeway, you jeopardize not only yourselves, but the lives of so many others. And as they're back on the streets, we will be interacting with that crowd, that protest, and that protest is now unlawful. The actions of endangering others creates an unsafe circumstance that just doesn't be simply turned on or off. In Hollywood, we have 3 groups in various parts of Hollywood that are protesting and largely peaceful. It's my hope that they'll continue. But if they do not, we have ample resources around and about them, monitoring them, and that we will act. Lastly, we had a protest that started here at our headquarters, our police headquarters, and then moved to City Hall. Unfortunately, I was actually at a press conference with our law enforcement leaders, which I'll speak to in a moment, and was unable to be there because I understand they asked for me and they wanted to speak with me. And I wish I could have been there. As soon as I left that press conference, I went there to meet with that group. Unfortunately, they had left and they had moved over to a different location. But I met with the leadership from LAPD that was there. And what they told me was that the group, recognizing that I wasn't available, asked for that leadership would take a knee with them, not to them. And nor were we asking them to take a knee to us. But we saw each other. We had a moment, as I understand it, of communication, of recognizing. I saw that, and I've referenced it last Saturday on Beverly, after a terrible aftermath of fire and destruction. But the group that wasn't necessarily, the largest group, not involved with that, just wanted to be heard. And they wanted to hear that we were willing to do that. And once that happened, that march remained peaceful, and we were able to leave. Tonight, as we approach the curfew, it is important that these protest groups end, that their actions, their words that we hear, not be drowned out now by not attending to the curfew. As we move into the evening, we have ample resources to not just protect our critical sites and protect our businesses and retails throughout this city, but also to ensure that those individuals who remain on our streets to prey upon our communities will be held accountable. I joined the law enforcement leaders of LA County today, by DA Lacey as well as City Attorney Fuhrer. And all of us are committed to hearing, recognizing, and acknowledging the failures of our past. But as we move forward, we must assure every member of our public of our unbending efforts to ensure your safety. The presence of the National Guard, the Safer at Home Directive, and now the curfew, and the mobilization of LAPD are control factions to restore that. But I'll last close with what my remarks were this morning in another media engagement. And that is to these organizers, is for them to join with us in calling for peace and showing the volume of their power to be that agent that restores peace in our community, not by policing power, but by their power of talking to the community, those advocacy, those groups of needing social justice, of let's achieve that through peace. Tonight, as I close, I wish us a safe night, and I thank the men and women of LAPD and LA Fire and all of our first responders for their sacrifice, their dedication, their valor. I was able, and I'll announce, to meet with and see the release of a young officer whose skull was fractured Saturday night during one of these protests that turned violent. After metal plates and stitches and staples, by the grace of God and the power of surgery and medicine, he was able to survive those injuries and is now resting safely at home. I'm thankful for his survival. I am grateful for his service, as I am to every member of this of LAPD. Thank you.